Hi, YouTube. Um, we might have a couple of interruptions. If we do, we'll just work through it. Hope you're all doing good. It's not too bad of a day so far. Um, I've been a little tired today. I got a lot to do ahead of me, but I thought I'd get my video out of the way and say hello, speak what's on my mind, and then whatever I get done, I get done. I did sleep a little better last night. I watched my diet a little closer, um, what I shouldn't have. So, yeah, man, I didn't have any candy or anything. I mean, I try to go like at least a couple days without anything sweet. So um, at least every other day, but not every day. And I used to never really, for like a couple of good solid decades, you couldn't even get me to eat anything with sugar in it. So but it does have energy that we need. So it does depend on what my body's craving at, certain days. So, like today, I'm not craving sugar, but I'm craving protein. So, yeah, that'll be like probably the base of my supper tonight will be just barbecue um, protein. So, yeah, we're gonna do some pork steaks and I'm gonna make some grilled or cream peas and stuff later on. So, yeah, over on my Facebook, I have a younger gentleman, um, and he's a nice person, but like every once in a while, he just get, and there's a few of them over there like this, but mocking the fact that if you're a Christian, they had like a Ronald McDonald and it said how you look believing in your God, um, and then or believing in your God that would like threaten people or whatever. And this is a big misconception that a lot of people like if you're a decent human being, you're not getting threatened. If you're a criminal, you're you are under the threat of being incarcerated for your misdeeds that you do to other human beings. Like any parent, what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and watch one child mutilate the other child and have absolutely no structured punishment for anything that they do? Get it? Yeah. But all these people that want to do wicked shit, they're like, oh, your God's not a loving God. Well, then your parents must not have been loving parents because that's the way that you see that situation when somebody has to be reprimanded. You're blaming the parent for their misdeeds. That's effing ridiculous, really. But I can see, the people that are led astray away from believing in any kind of creator because of the way other people act, hypocritical. And then how are you supposed to believe that their hearts are good? Nah, God doesn't like that either. That's a fact. So, yeah. I was thinking of neuroscience, like neuropsychology, and even though they can cut a brain open or do like uh, oh, I don't know what it's called for a brain scan. It's not like a EKG, is electrocardiogram, a neuroscan. I'm not sure. I actually had one done when my head got cracked open long time ago. But well, no, that was an X-ray. But yeah. I don't know if they actually scanned my brain at any time. They might have. I've been in like MRIs and um, so many x-rays and different things. I can't even remember them all. So yeah, a lot of injuries, a lot of things happen to me. Um, yeah, lots. So anyway, but I wonder how, even if they can like pinpoint where like a neuron's gonna fire for a nerve to make like a connection to make a muscle move or something like that. Yeah, they can map all that, but they still can't map the soul that's within in a human being. You know, it's just like if you have somebody that they might not be too bright as far as academically, but their heart is richer than anybody you ever met, you know? So where's the neuroscience in that? It can't be mapped, you know? So people are afraid, like, of, oh, what's that called? Oh, like artificial intelligence or um, AGI or bio and artificial being mixed. And that's kind of, in a sense, what we already are in a human body. That's my thoughts are God's way ahead of that. That's how he communicates with us. And that's how we learn. We're like built-in computers like that, you know. And that mankind would think that they could excel the human mind. Yeah, they can in the speed of calculations, but not in what reality is in the biology of a flesh suit, you know. So anyway, I used to get a little irritated at people that were like, how could a loving God be such a terrible, you know, entity? And what is he supposed to do? Not even threaten you or give you any laws or just let the wicked people do what they want to do? Are you out of your mind? What, that we're not supposed to, and it's not a good idea to have a structure in society or warn your children about the boogeyman? You know, of course we're supposed to, you know. I mean, you don't have to make it sound like a fairy tale if you're teaching your children that this creator is the beginning of all life and truly our father, you know. So what's this father supposed to do? Not say a word? No, he's saying, look, if you're wicked, damnation and hellfire is what you deserve. He didn't say this is absolutely what you're going to get, but for some entities, yes, he did. He's talking to the truly evil, vile, wicked, not normal human beings. I don't know how people get that confused. If you're a good person, you don't have anything to worry about. If you're a crappy one, well, you should worry, shouldn't you? Shouldn't there be a threat of incarceration for criminals? And if you don't think so, well, may the next criminal visit your doorstep, you know? If you think God's just a evil, cruel, vile God and you can't see all the loving gifts that the person that put you here made for you know? You're that's I mean, I'm not one of these that says, you know, like, oh, you have to be grateful for every second of your day and praise him every with every breath. Well, yeah, if you do anyway, then that's in you, you know. But to have to instruct somebody to praise our Father, that's a little hokey to me. You know, that's just, there's some things that just way too much. It's like, no, I'm not going to teach younger people to get on their knees and close their eyes and talk to God. Not at all. If you're sitting with your own silence and you're speaking, God hears your heart and your soul. Why be redundant and repeat it, you know? That's, like they have to say in Catholic religion like 70 Hail Marys and count your rosary beads. Now that's the head of the church inflicting punishment on these people for repentance. Is that going to buy them a ticket into heaven? I don't think so. The repentance of their heart without being punished. Just the threat that you won't even be close to your loved ones if they're good people and you're not. Isn't that a big enough threat? You would think so. But things have been rewritten and twisted where average human beings actually think God is a unloving God to normal people. That's just not true because they don't see his gifts. Well, then they have a wicked spot in them they have to work on. That's my opinion, you know. That, in that respect, life is what you make it. I mean, life isn't always what we make it as far as the jobs we get or, the different physical pleasures that we might achieve in our lives. But inside your soul, life is what you make it. Because I don't believe this is the end of us here. So, and if you do, that's going to put you at a standstill anyway. So, I don't know. But yeah, this person's pretty young. I'm going to say in his 30s, I think. And he is a very funny person. I mean, he cracks me up entirely. If you do watch this, because I'm going to name it, so you will be aware of a few things that you just might not be aware of. It's hard to understand the scriptures when they have been changed and word for word, even one word, taking things out of context and making it seem like something it isn't. How do you explain a whole book that's been rearranged to put you in the position that you are right now? How do I go about telling you that God is love? Just like any parent has to have restrictions on how you treat other people. If that doesn't come natural to you, you know. But I hope that's clear. I think you're a parent, or some of you are parents. You know what I'm getting at. You have to sometimes reprimand, and even it would seem like a punishment if you made a child go into their room to keep their trauma and turmoil away from the other children that are behaving, you know. So that's the way things go. Just one moment. Hey, Doug, I am making a video, so just in case, the less noise you could make. I'm making a video, so the least amount of noise you can make would be cool. He didn't hear me. Oh well. I'm making a video. Okay, thank you. So anyway, Yeah, what is a parent supposed to do? Not even have rules within your home? Yeah, that's a little bit silly. No, God doesn't hate normal people, you know? And if you're not, why would he like you? Come on now, let's really examine this from a logical standpoint. Put aside, I mean, the Word of God is written on everybody's heart. You don't need a scripture for that. You don't need a script and a list to tell you what to do. Isn't that correct? Yeah. So beyond that, no matter what anybody says, and all jokes aside, He's a fair and loving God. So, and I will defend that because I know who's taken care of me all these years, even on my bad days, especially on my bad days, you know. So I hope my friend watches this, and even if he continues to put through them jokes, I'll continue to laugh at him. And then, well, today was one of the first times in a while that I took some time to even respond to it. A lot of times I just let it go and let them have their fun, you know. It's like, yeah, they've probably been hurt by some really dumbass people um, with their religious rhetoric that's more harmful. So, yeah, excuse me, I can see where they're coming from, you know, because I mean, really, in about the 90s, um, after my, I went and first got, oh, what do you call it, a legal separation from my ex. So the things he was doing, and I closed a bank account that I had opened in different things. So the things that he was doing wouldn't affect me anymore, you know, in that way. And then REM came out with Losing My Religion, and I just loved that song. It was like it was just made for what I was going through at that time. It was so true because my faith in God didn't go away, but I did lose my religion. I had no churches I could go to. As a matter of fact, I had been sending my kids to evangelistic, more like a Calvinistic, Methodist, Lutheran based type of church. And come to find out, the pastor and like deacons of this, they were satanic. Well, that's what I knew all these things. I knew the churches of Zion were like that. But they constructed a tent in this little tiny city where I used to work at the high school and stuff. And um, I had met them, and I thought, well, that's really cool. They'll have a bus pick kids up and take them to church. So if I can't get there, they're going to be with other kids that they already know, and they're going to have a nice day. That gives them kind of like a day out of the house and me a day to clean my house without them under my feet, you know. It didn't turn out so nice. I let them go twice. The first time, my kids told me that they had fun. The second time, they told me some weird stuff that was going on, and I wouldn't let them go anymore. And then a neighbor kid that was older came and told me of some really bad things that were going on at that place. So my instincts were right, pulling my kids out of there. Then I was really leery on taking them to any place or going anywhere like that. Although later, couple years later, I joined a Lutheran church in a real tiny town, and I had my children baptized. Well, guess what they did? After 5 years of me taking care of my kids and not hearing from my ex, I had gotten a hold of the state to try and get some child support from him. My youngest son was really struggling in a lot of ways, and I had to put him in a private school, so we were going through some pretty bad things. After 5 years, then he wanted rights to see the kids. It got way worse, and then he even tried to deny that the first one was his, and just nasty, nasty stuff. Well, anyway, my kids got down at their dad's house in Wisconsin, and they got baptized again in a Methodist church. And I'm like, so you didn't even tell your dad or Barb number two that you already were baptized, because they wanted more presents, because you usually get like baptismal gifts and confirmation gifts and those types of things in life. So they went through a whole nother baptism and got more presents. Talk about greedy little. Yeah, they're not very nice people. And they were, now I don't know, maybe I don't know if my ex knew that they already had been baptized or not. I mean, when he wasn't around for all those years, he didn't know a lot of things they went through, had no clue, and they didn't even ask. I tried to talk to people on the phone, but the communication skills left something to be desired. So, yeah. Especially with his new wife, because she was quite frankly told a lot of things that were not true. And she wholeheartedly believed a lot of it. It's like, okay, good luck. Have fun. At that point, I didn't really, it took me a while to think about even God blessing her as a person, because the turmoil, the smirky looks of and the hatred looks and all this shit I went through from a person I don't even know, you know. Oh yeah, whatever. She had no clue, none. But I think she does now, like 30 some years later. But anyway, but yeah, my kids were like 11 and 14 before these creatures even had anything to do with them. Yeah, it's a true story. And that only lasted less than a couple years, around that. So I'm laughing because if you knew these young men that are like their father, just the dad alone, just one of them would trip you out. You'd be like, what is it? You know, I'm so serious. But yeah, back to the mocking people for believing in God because he has to lay the law down. Well, a lot of what is written isn't exactly the way it was. Um, and there's no way to actually prove it to somebody unless they feel it in their heart and they know better. Well, if they're going to study as hard as I studied different languages and religions and things to get down to the bottom of even what the Masons taught me, I didn't take on face value and believe everything that I read, even within all that literature they had, and the I mean, they believe in like hypnosis and mind control and all these types of things, you know. Um, so why would I trust and take at face value anything they told me? I never did. I always investigated things on my own to get to the bottom of the truth, you know. And I still operate like that. I don't take anything just on face value because somebody of supposed substance says something. It's like, you know, like if you're teaching me what the Khazarian Jews or the Catholics and most Protestants, Zionist type of churches, if you're trying to teach me anything like that, if I can't hear the word of God coming out of your soul without your scriptures in front of you, well, you already lost me as an audience, you know, and I'm definitely not going to think of wanting to give you any kind of funds for just being one of millions of people that think on that same level, that will read something without their heart involved, without their soul involved. You'll never understand it if you don't read it with your heart. Because when you're reading it, you should have your own thoughts, and Jesus taught us to examine and question everything. He said, don't believe me, believe the Father, and question everything. He instructed people to question everything. Then you can make an informed decision on your own. That's your heart. Uh, that's your own instincts and your own abilities, you know, that God gave you, and everybody's separate like that, you know. So I hope my friend will get it one of these days. Because, too, memes like that really do take, instead of people taking the time and trying to explain things like I do, they get mad and they go on the offense and they start throwing scriptures at people, and this is not going to help, you know. We have to talk to people like people and leave the scriptures out of it and talk like a human being for to win them over with love instead of pounding something down their throats that has annihilated them already, if you get my meaning there. You know, so that's why I decided to go about things a little differently. You know, and my stroke put me in that position too, where it was hard for me to read, and then I had a broken arm, and and that's the arm, so it was really hard for me to even like type or use my mouse or anything. And I remember somebody saying, if you have something to say, just type it out or leave it in the comments. And I'm thinking, if you knew how hard it was for me to even construct a sentence and then type it out on and send it to you, you would be thoroughly amazed, you know. But I didn't complain about it. I just asked for God's help, and I was able to keep communicating, you know. But it was rough. It's like when I broke my toes. Boy, that was bad. Then I broke my arm. This was after I got squished from my horse. I mean, it's just like one injury right after another. My horse's leg got damaged because of Doug. He might not have realized what was going to happen, but I think he did. But anyway, yeah. Well, anyway, back to the fact that God really helped me to communicate in different ways to reach people, to reach their hearts, and not annihilate them with God like a weapon, because that's not it. It's, yes, there's a reprimands coming for people that are wicked, that don't have love in their hearts. Why wouldn't there be? Like I say, there's a place for criminals, and why wouldn't there be? It'd be ridiculous to think that there wasn't. That would be an unloving God with no justice for the people who are innocent, you know. And people really do forget how wicked, and I mean truly wicked, a lot of people are in their actions, in their thoughts. I mean, so a nice person isn't going to really, they're not going to understand why there would be a book of Revelation saying, look, but if you're a good person, why are you worried about it? What would it matter? Because then you would say to yourself, wow, He is my vengeance. And this is going to be coming up for the fallen people that don't care to get up. You know, everybody's screaming for people to wake up. Everybody's awake and they're doing what they want to do, you know, and they'll either come to it in their own time or they won't, you know. But I'm saying that we can praise our Creator without acting like we're fawning all over some kind of superstar that wouldn't be that would be undeserving. This is somebody that gives us everything, everything to our heart's desires, whatever it is. And it is true, very true. If you're out of money, there is a way, and He'll provide a way. I mean, it never fails, never. Like I say, I've had to work towards things and it's been rough. I mean, I went like one time it was like, and I was a teenager, over a couple weeks without eating. And when I did drink something, it hurt, you know. Um, you know, may not be a big deal for an adult to fast, but it's a little rough when you're still growing, you know. But anyway. Your mind, especially for a girl, or whoever when they're teens. But I could have went and made money other ways, but I decided to starve instead. And I found my way out of it. Found a place to live with a little job, taking care of some kids, and um, till I was able to get my own apartment. And so things did work out. It was a little rough in between there, but little situations like that, like if I didn't have a vehicle and I'd have to walk to work or whatever it took to make money to get that vehicle, and whatever it took, I still knew I was going to be okay. And every day, no matter what you have to do within that day, it's just a day, you know. It's either good or bad. If we can think of it as good, that's cool. I think there's always something good in a day. That's about the only thing I ever really forced on my children. It is, well, two things. Don't brutalize each other, because they were really horrible to each other. And find something good in a day, at least one good thing in every day, you know. I don't know if zodiac signs mean anything to any of you, but I had two boys that are both Capricorns. That's the sign of the goat or the ram, and they're really stubborn. They're very loving, but they're totally lost. And drugs and alcohol played a huge part in that. But they had some formative years alone with me that, and they were more calm. That didn't last very long, though. But anyway, because I had people fighting me for rights to see these children, grandparents that weren't even their blood, that took me to court. I did get a restraining order, and they were able, because they are Masons, to go in there and have that overturned. And then the attorney tried to send me the bill. I took that in there, I threw it on his desk, and I gave him a piece of my mind, you know. He ended up being our, let's see, district attorney in our county. Piece of crap that he is. So anyway, Masonic piece of crap. So I would get my kids just calm down, and then like every other week, they would go see these fake grandparents, and their diet would change, and they'd come home all like whacked. And I mean, that might be kind of typical for some grandparents, not with me, but with some, if they don't see that little person as a whole being and care about their health. Well, these were um, both obese people that were so in the flesh that they couldn't have taught my child how to be a healthy human being, even if my kids had wanted it. There's no way it would have. There's no way. Ugh. So, yeah. So that's really what is on my mind today. People that are thinking that God is like a cruel, vengeful creator that doesn't give people a chance. Obviously, you're still breathing, so every day is that chance. you know, so he isn't too mean, is he? You woke up, your heart's beating, you know, and you got a chance. There's your start. Or people are so wicked that they're the ones that are screaming, well, I don't believe in God because he's such a cruel God. No, he's a cruel God because you're an awful human being, and somebody has to do something about it, you know? So you can really look at it two ways, is what I'm saying. You're either wicked and you think God hates you, or you're not, and you know he loves you because you're not wicked. It's pretty simple. I think I'm going to name it that. God loves me because I'm not wicked. Because that's the truth. and the few people that would call themselves my friends love me because I'm not wicked. And they wouldn't like me so much if I was, you know. So you can have a lot of acquaintances out in this world, but to actually have people that respect you because you're a good person, if they do. And if you don't have those type of people in your life, that's a bummer. you know, I don't have a lot, but there's a few, you know. It's not that I can't be wicked, but I know God's not going to hate me if I go there. He doesn't like it, but He's not going to hate me because of it. He's just going to tell me to do better next time, you know? And I promise Him I will, you know? It's all I can do. It's all He can do, too. Till that day I have to face any stupid thing I've ever done. That's where people don't even think ahead for themselves, you know? They're like, oh, well, you only go around once, so I don't have to believe anybody made me. And I can just say that He's not a loving God because He has to lay down the law, you know, for people that don't want to be obedient to Him. And if you think of Him as a good parent, you would want to be obedient. And if you have a good heart, you're being obedient anyway, you know? So it's just really foolish people that would put out a meme like that because they really don't know what they're talking about. You know, that's the bottom line. Yeah. So what do you think about artificial intelligence? Are you afraid that it could take over your body? And if you are afraid of that, how would it get in you? And if you believe in like graphite and those type of things in our food or air or whatever, um, do you think that you have any armor of God that's going to protect you from that, or do you feel fear and um, hopelessness and like, you know, are you afraid? Yeah. And if you think God's going to put you in prison at the end of all your days, are you afraid? Just asking. I'm curious what people feel, you know? What are you thinking? Or what? If you think like if you have a cigarette or if you have a beer after work or a glass of wine or if you smoke a hit of weed or even if you've done hard drugs or whatever, what? You think God doesn't love you and He doesn't know your heart and your mind and your soul? Of course He does. That's not, you know, it is everything in moderation as far as what we ingest, you know. But there's certain things that you just don't do to yourself. That's your spirit within yourself's going to tell you what's right or wrong, and you already know that. You know, nobody has to tell you that. Cheers, everybody. Happy New Week to you. Hope it's wonderful. So, yeah, it's just like a good parent. There's absolutely nothing mean about God unless you put him in that position, just like me. I'm totally peaceful, just leave me alone, but I do have rules in my house and for my children in my house. That's just simple. You know, these are the things we need to learn if we don't know them, you know. That's how to conduct ourselves as decent human beings. That's not a lot to ask. don't think it is. You just can't sit by and expect that there's no um, ramifications for any bad stuff you do. I mean, that's just, I mean, even that what God isn't supposed to say a bad word to you if you act stupid. That would be a piss poor parent, wouldn't it? If there were no laws within your home, yikes. God help the rest of those siblings, or all of you. Let's put it this way. If you're a parent and you think God is a cruel God, then just take all the laws in your home, any structure that you have, what's good or bad, just take that away from your children for one day and see what happens. you know, go ahead. I dare you. Just let your kid do whatever they want to do in your house and to you, okay? I hope that makes a point. Should. It's pretty logical. That's a very funny thought because that would be my definition of hell, especially with kids. And if you have narcissists and they act like they have the mind of a child, now you have a description of hell. Those are the ones that are evil, that are not mentally handicapped. And if you watched the link that I shared with the proof of the minds of these dark tetrad sadistic individuals, it really explains it all, you know. It's because of their greed has given us a measure of their psychopathy that we can repeat back to them by way of saying, look, you're an evil criminal, and this is what's going to happen to you if you continue on that path. It's structures within society. It's if we don't have values as human beings in our society and we have people with these psychoses, then they would devour us and there would be no justice whatsoever. And so people that are pushing that God is so cruel, once again, I'm asking you, just what the hell do you expect people that are innocent to do in the face of monsters? Be passive about it? And how's that going to work for you? Probably not very well. That's my guess. But really, that would be hell, wouldn't it? Think of one person in your life that you really can't tolerate being around. And if you were a wicked person, then you would deserve to be together in the end. That would be justice. you know, two wicked people not enjoying each other's company. That would be hell. Because these wicked people don't enjoy your company, you know. if you have values and you're not a liar and you're a good person and you don't hurt other people, all these good things, a wicked person is not going to like you, you know, and they will do things to you. That's why there's laws to stop them from doing criminal actions and getting away with it, you know. But I believe people will come to the conclusions on their own, with or without any religion in their life. Their hearts, you know, they're guided, you know. I'm still not into these spiritualists because there are two spirits that roam the ether and each trying to, one, not control his creation but to love and protect his creation, and the other one to control and destroy. So yeah, there's a spiritual war, but there's still a structure of faith that people that believe in God that we have, you know, and there's commandments that we're commanded to obey as his children that I don't find a problem with, you know. Anyway, yeah, I think a lot of people have just really been hurt by churches and people that go in churches, and I'm one of them too, so I can really, really relate to that, you know. Well, I'm gonna get this uploaded. That's really my message for today is, you know, what's a parent supposed to do? Appear to be cruel to the wicked one. Okay, if my kids think I'm wicked because I have laws within my house, so be it, you know. And I guess that's the bottom line. So, all right, everybody, I appreciate you joining me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.